really go and check on your property. Drive by every 3 months, every 4 months. Say, hey, I'm going to just swing by. You know, have a relationship with your tenants.
That's the most important.
Talk to them. Have a real relationship. When they have a problem or there's something going on, hey, landlord, the water is not coming up. I don't know what's going on. You know what? Just send a $25 gift card and say, go buy some water for the house until... No, it's true. It's just a question of relationship. There will be, oh my God, my landlord's... Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
Great. Here's the situation. I just like to say that when we start. But anyway, so today, everybody love real estate. Everybody love real estate investing, right? It sounds so sexy when you say that, oh, I'm a real estate investor, you know?
I invest
in real estate. I make money in real estate, right?
Yeah.
But people don't always know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then
there's some uglies.
A lot of uglies. And some of us in this room, for all three of us, we did some flip, some investment. And then the goal for today is to learn the good, the bad, and the ugly, what you should do, what you need to think about. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And then, so thank you so much for watching. I am your host, Danielle Bilumbu Leach, and we are here. Let's keep it real now. I have my favorite co-host right here.
Yes. Jabbie here with AMP Lending. How y'all doing?
Great. And then we have a special guest, someone who is an expert in...
I like that.
Yeah, you are. If you can flip more, if you do more than 5 flip a year, to me, you consider an expert, and you'll be doing it for so long. So we have here my dear friend. I don't want to mess up your name, so I'm going to read it slowly, but I'm going to say the Central Africa French way, okay?
There you go. That's something I can do.
So we have Mr. Obinna Emukah.
There we go.
Did I say it right? Yeah. Okay. We here is the owner of My Daddy Buy Houses LLC, and he's been flipping in a real estate game since 2014, right?
Yeah, 2014.
Okay, talk to us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where you come from?
Well, of course, by my name, I'm Nigerian-born parents, born and raised here in Houston, Texas, Missouri City, to be exact. And I mean, what do you want to know? I flip property. I love it. So when you said something about an expert, right? And when I flipped it so many properties a year, you know, I'm considered an expert. For me, it's just fun. I'm like a kid in a candy store. You know what I mean? So it's work, but it's not really work. Although there is, like you said, there is some bumps and some bruises, and it can get stressful. But
we have to go through it to learn.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that if it comes with the territory.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just generally it's just fun for me.
Okay, so tell us how you get started. How you start investing in real estate? Did you start flipping first? Did you start buying and hold first? Did you just do wholesaling?
No, well, first I started to learn first. Actually, well,
Okay.
I think ideally, right? I was wholesaling first, right? And it's crazy because I would, after college, right? Shout out to Prairie View A&M. After college, I would read these books, and I remember buying these. It's a book that's called "No Money Down" by Carton Sheets,
Okay.
and it wasn't even a book. It was something that he probably recorded in the '80s, and it came with a cassette tape. It came with a cassette tape and some pamphlets or whatever, but it was about wholesaling, right? And this was 2006, right? And I didn't
Understand.
like. I understood it. I thought that it was ridiculous. I didn't like the concept. Like, come on, buying a house with no money. Like, get out of here,
How
please.
does that work?
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. I don't want to go through that. Like, you know, and then I'm a college student, you know, and majority of the time you're a college student, your credit is shot, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't really thinking about credit. I was like, I need to get to the bag so that I can buy this property to help the credit, right? But you know, I went through a bunch of jobs and stuff like that. But I mean, you say how I got to wholesaling. I ran into a guy who, you know, I told him, just teach me the game, man. You know, so he told me just basically wholesale. And I was like, all right, man. So I did it, right? And it took me maybe 6 months to get my first deal. And I can remember my first deal because it was only $3,000, right? I was supposed to make 8.
Okay.
Right? But then the lady got at the closing table. She was like, well, I don't want this no more. I want, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. Like, it was an $8,000 deal. But I bit the bullet just to be successful, right?
Yes.
And then that's one thing a lot of people fail to realize, because I had gotten that space, right? And me getting in that space, I had to know, I kind of put myself in that space. You know what I mean? Like meeting the people I'm supposed to meet. And there was a lot of people who were doing the same thing that we were doing at the same time, but didn't last, right? So, for an example, I was taught, okay, this is the bandit sign area, right? So I'll just buy thousands of bandit sign and pay somebody to put it out there, right? The streets were flooded with my daddy buys houses. I was getting calls from the city, Missouri City, the county I was getting calls from, getting fines or whatever. But I remember getting frustrated but not giving up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I would always get closer and closer to the deal. You know what I mean? Like I would get a lead, all right, then lose a lead. Get a lead and walk the property and then lose it. Get a lead, walk the property, put it on contract, and then don't close. Get a lead, walk the property, put it on contract, and close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins. So that $3,000, I didn't spend it all, right?
You reinvested into your business.
Yeah, well, honestly, I didn't cash that. I held on to that check for like a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe because it was just $3,000, but it was just like it was just So I put it on the wall, right, in a frame, and it just stood there. So when I walk in my office, it was just kind of
it was just kind of a reminder. You can do it,
pictures.
right?
Yeah. It was just
Don't give up.
Right. So my boy walked in my office. He was like, "Bro, you ain't gonna cash this check?" I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot it. It's an actual check." So,
but people need to realize when you do wholesaling, let's just explain the concept, because some of our viewer probably doesn't understand what is wholesaling exactly. But the average person, when they do wholesale, they make about $2,000 to $3,000. So that $3,000 was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, nowadays these wholesalers are making like 10, 15.
Because everybody wants to invest, and a lot of people do not understand that some property are not worth the buy, and that's why they get screwed. But wholesaling, pretty much, if you can give a definition of it for those that don't understand what is wholesaling, it's another way for you to purchase a home without necessarily having to put no money down, but you're just the middleman in there, and you're not required to have a real estate license, for example. So
you said it in the bunch. It's market. You have to market.
Yes.
Right. It's heavy legwork.
Yep.
Right. I prefer not to do it anymore. Right. But it's heavy legwork and it works. Remember in the beginning I said that I was like, oh, come on, please. Buying property with no money and paying the middleman. No. But it works. And honestly, if I'm really honest with you, it actually helped me to evaluate properties.
Yes.
Right. And then that's important. Like a lot of you guys starting off and, you want to wholesale, don't look at it like for the money. You know what I mean? I didn't look at it for the money. I look at it like, okay, this is because I didn't like wholesaling, so it wasn't for the money.
You were being a student.
Right. And that's the most important thing, is being a student. The second you walk in a room and you flip properties, the second you walk in a room amongst gurus and you take that student hat on, you learn nothing.
Yeah. And right now we're in an age where everybody wants to see a return like
right
that.
now. Yeah.
Nobody wants to do the legwork. Nobody wants to go out there and really put in the work that they need to see the outcome.
For me, it was all about learning, man. It was all about learning, right? And, when you get out there and then this deal fell through, you want to see yourself make a deal. So I was like, no, bro, I'm going to make a deal. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So for our viewers out there, would you advise them to get into wholesaling as far as to learn the business, the ins and outs?
Yeah, if you wanted to get into real estate, right? Well, first of all, do what you're passionate at, right? You know what I mean? Like, don't do it for money. If you're doing it for money, then you're going to make a lot of money mistakes.
You heard that, right?
It's something. if I can say this about wholesaling, right? Like I said before, right? I benefited because it allowed me to evaluate properties the way I do.
Yeah, because when you go, it's pretty much boots on the ground. Somebody called you, you get information about the property, you look at what sold come in the neighborhood before and after repair, and then you go to the property yourself, you walked it, you look at, how much you think approximately, even if you're not a contractor, you will need to repair it, because you have to put this package together to be able to sell it to your final investor who has the money to really flip it.
Right. And then in addition to that, it also allowed me to determine, okay, is this a good buy and hold deal? Is it a good flip? Is this a good, settle finance deal or a short sale?
Yeah.
Or what have you. You know what I mean? And you will find it out immediately if you're evaluating all these properties. I used to be up like 3, 4, 5 in the morning just evaluating properties. Not closing any of them, but just going through the motions, right? Because it's all about learning, right?
Yeah.
Everything is not all about the bag. The bag is going to come.
It's gonna come.
You know what I mean?
If you do the action a lot enough,
right,
you will make the money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
The bag is going to come.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't force it. I wouldn't force anything. I would just get with someone who probably been there and done that, right? I've learned through YouTube first. Right?
YouTube University.
YouTube
Yay!
University. Yeah, just free tuition. YouTube University. But then again, I put myself in
Out
the
there.
environment, right? Like networking events, but not just any networking events, right? And no shade to people who do networking events or who host them, right? But you will know what networking event is serious, right? There are a selective few that I would go to, right? But there's some events that you will know people who are in the game hard, you know what I mean, and do not mind to share information.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to where I'm at.
that's one of the key things. I mean, knowing the information and sharing the information with people to bring them along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to put yourself in that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're at home and you're trying to figure it out on yourself, oh, good luck. I'm not saying you can't do it, right? But you have to put yourself, for me, I put myself in the space. So a lot of people I know I learned from.
Yeah.
I mean, from the name of the business to marketing, even now, you know what I mean? I'm always a student of the game, man. I would never feel, that's what they say when you say an expert. Yeah, maybe just somebody who hasn't done anything. You know what I mean?
But you're doing more than the average person who does flipping.
I do my best. It's fun.
It is fun. It's fun.
I'm playing
I love when we flip a house. My husband, he's just the money person.
Yeah.
And I'm the.
And life is easy, right?
Yeah.
No hard money. So, hey, babe, this one costs like.
He'll be like, "Hey,
Come on, hubby.
yeah," and then he'll be like, "Oh, I want to flip a house." I was like, "Okay, great. So let me search the property, dig on the property, run the number, go in the and I love my favorite part is the design to peek. Of course, I guess.
Yeah,
it's a girl thing.
That can be fun. That can be, for me, that can be fun and stressful at the same time. If you look at all my projects, right, majority of them are identical.
Oh, yeah?
Because I don't like to do all that
You
stuff.
do the same concept. That's all right. That's men.
So maybe you need to partner up with a lady.
Well, yeah. If it's free, for sure. It's all about the bottom line at the end of the day.
So, lady, he's available. He's single.
It's all about the bottom line at the end of the day.
So for our viewers, what advice would you give them as far as trying to scout their first property? What advice would you give them to go out there and start searching?
Yeah, if they go out and they want to, now let's look at, we forget about wholesaling and they want to flip or buy and hold. What's the difference to you? How would you, when you go to a property and you're like, okay, should I go buy and hold? Should I do owner finance? Should I try to resell it? Should I flip it?
The difference is the numbers for me, right? Mm-hmm. I will say that because when I'm wholesaling, I was always looking out for the end buyer.
Okay.
That's a lost art now. Sorry for y'all wholesalers. I'm just being factual.
It is true.
Yeah, I mean, some of these deals are horrendous, man.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
You're like, what are
there's
you sending me?
no margin. And it's like, why are you sending this? Like, you don't feel ashamed? Yeah, I would have,
They try to make a lot of money on there.
I get it, I understand it, but at the end of the day, it's a bunch of insults.
Yeah.
Don't bring this by my anyway.
So pretty much for the wholesale, for anybody that they try to invest out there, when you see the property coming from a wholesaler, you don't have experience, just know you can negotiate. That's what you have to put in your head.
Right.
You can negotiate. Even if the wholesaler make you feel some type of way, there's no way, give the $5,000 deposit. Sometimes they like to put pressure like that. Mm-hmm. You can negotiate.
And then don't rely on their own evaluation. Do your own evaluation. Do your own comps, run your own ARVs. Because what I'm seeing now, maybe 85% of them is wrong now. But at the end of the day, it's just about how you evaluate. Right? Like when I evaluate sometimes, well, for the most part, I don't go outside of the subdivision. I look for true comps, right?
Yeah.
I don't go across the street or across the major street, I don't do the whole, and a lot of people do, and then that's fine, whatever floats your boat. I don't do the whole square mile radius or whatever it is. I do in the subdivision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if there's none in the subdivision, then I go 0.5 miles out. Oh, and then if it's nothing there, and then I go.
Let's go to the next.
And then if I don't find anything in 1 mile radius, I'm done. I'm done looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm very conservative, and that's probably kind of like, I don't know. It's just something I'm always proud of myself of doing, being conservative. Right? It doesn't play well in a lot of industries, but for me, when it comes to real estate and numbers, it helped me get margins. I was just telling the boo that all of my deals, if I'm doing hard money, have been 100% financing, right? And he was like, "Oh, well, you got any kind of the lenders looking out for you?" I'm like, "No, just how I structure the deal, all right?" And that's about being real conservative, right? So there's deals that I've purchased from wholesalers, which is not often at all, that I would have to renegotiate down. When I say down, I'm talking about down to a steak dinner. You know what I mean? Because they would just get little or nothing. But these are people who they've held the property for maybe months and they need to get rid of it. You know what I mean? So that's a clue. You ask, how long have you had this property? If it's coming from a wholesaler. And a lot of times they would have the property for a long time because it's not originally a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
But do your own evaluation.
And also, what some of the tips you can tell someone when they look at a property outside of just the comp? What else? What advice would you advise someone if they're trying to buy and flip, for example?
Well, I will only tell them what I do.
Okay,
right?
What do you do?
And well, I guess when it does, I look at low days on the market. Mm-hmm. Right. If you're beginning, right, you don't want to make a whole bunch of mistakes, right? Low days on the market, you know what I mean? Hot neighborhood, meaning that there's a bunch of properties sold, not active, sold. Right? Mm-hmm. Active means
within 6 months.
Right. Active means nothing to me, and I don't care about active. You know what I mean? Sold is what I'm looking for, right? And within 6 months. But obviously, if you don't see anything within 6 months, of course, you go out to a year, right? And then in some cases, depending on the size of the property, the schools.
The schools help a lot.
Yeah, schools help a lot. Like you was mentioning that the property you was with no garage, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I was asking you, well, what was the price point, right? Because a lot of people, when you go into these higher end homes, you're not dealing with first time home buyers.
No,
you know what I mean. So then when you flip these properties, they care about the school district, right? They care about where's the closest highway, what store, right? Is it Fiesta or is it Whole Foods? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it's challenging, but they care a lot. They know they're much more knowledgeable about what they want because they've been there and done that.
Yeah, also they want to care if there's flood that happened before.
Flood, right.
They want to know if it's the family neighborhood. I think for the flip part, you really have to think about who will be my hand buyer. Who is going to buy this house? Who are the type of people that are buying this property here?
In this area.
And then does this house really match? And sometimes these houses have been in the market before. So they may be not on the market today, but try to ask your realtor to look if in the past it used to be on the market and how long it was on the market. Because sometimes if the house doesn't match the neighborhood, it's something that's going to take a long time to move. So when you buy it and you try to flip it because the numbers looks great, but then you sit on it and you have a harmony lender that you have to pay every month and they only give you 6 months and you're coming close to your edge. Oh, that's stress.
Very much so. And that's a stress. Remember I say, I'll take the stress. That's a stress I don't want.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. Especially when you buy those high rent and you know your monthly payment, your interest payment only because when you have a home money lender, they charge you interest only.
Yeah.
It's a balloon type of
Right.
It's just $2,500.
That's why I'm
$2,000, $3,000, and you have to come out of pocket, and that eating up your profit.
But there's a way you do it, right? You don't have to come out of pocket initially. It's always how you structure the deal.
Yeah, if your deal is good, if they can 100% financing.
Right.
One time I had a deal like that. I don't know if you remember. That property, we bought it so low, then the entire deal was 100% financed. We didn't have to pay monthly payment on it.
Oh.
That was the perfect. So the lenders say, okay, this is the hard money lender. So you buy it, we sold it about $530, $535, but we bought it so low, the money to repair it and to renovate it was about $100,000, and then the monthly payment, everything was included in there. So all we have to, my job was just to get it done and put it on the market and sell it. I didn't have to pay nothing, because it was an exceptional buy.
Yeah.
Right. So what I usually do, something similar. What I usually do is, all right, like I said, all of my deals have been 100% financing, right? Meaning that, for an example, you may get a lender who they will finance 75% of the value, right? Meaning that I would get acquisition and my repair budget within 75%. It's 100% financing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what I would do, and this is for you guys who are maybe in the game or want to get in the game, this is a little tidbit, right? I'm not going to tell you who my lender is because
Please share.
I want everyone to watch it, but besides them because they don't know I do this. But so I make it top heavy first. I make my repair budget top heavy, right? So when you put a house on a contract and you're going through a hard money lender, right? You send them the contract, right, and then you send them your rehab budget.
Yeah.
Right. On a rehab budget, my first few items that I will start off with, like dumpster, demo, sheetrock or whatever, my first few items, right, I'll make it top heavy, right?
Foundation, also you do it.
Foundation,
Roof.
right? Yeah. So whatever I'm doing in the beginning, so let's say for an example, it's demo. I need a dumpster, right? Foundation, roof, right? And let's say my budget is $50,000 for an example, right? When I say top heavy, I'll make those items top heavy. So for example, $20,000, right? I mean, it's not going to cost me, let's say $5,000 each. Dumpster doesn't cost $5,000, right? And you can get a dumpster for $500 for 30 days. If you use what I use, you can have it for the life of your project, right? But I make it top heavy so that way and then I allocate money for my monthly payments, right? So if my monthly payments, for an example, is $1,500, okay, then I have it for 6 months, right?
You do the calculation, right?
Do the calculation. Now I put my interest only payments to the side, and I work off of what I'm working off of.
Thank you. I learned something. I didn't think I could do it like that.
Yeah, you can. Just don't tell your lender.
So, guys, this is a secret. Don't tell anybody, okay?
But I don't think these lenders care, man. As long as they're making money, you pay it. Yeah,
I think they're making enough money. Especially, I'm sure they're very happy when you come to, hey, I need an extension. Can I have another 90 days?
Yeah,
charge you
1%.
1% on the loan plus extra fees. And you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
God forbid, I don't want to see those days.
No.
I don't want to see those days. I've seen it once on my buy and hold. That's because I wanted to sell it, but I didn't. So I just ended up holding it and renting it. And I went over pay 1% once. But I mean, it's rented out Section 8, so I'm not really worried about the payment anymore. But that's
Section 8
that's
paying too.
trip.
They paying.
Yes, I
yeah.
do. I do have several. I met a person at the housing. He owned 10 rentals in very nice neighborhood.
He works in housing?
No, I met him at housing one time.
Oh,
I was going there, and then he owned 10 rentals.
Nice.
And they're all with housing. He does not advertise it. It just goes straight to housing. And he was laughing. And he told me during the pandemic when all my friends were sweating and stuff, I was laughing.
Yes.
My mortgage were being paid.
Yes.
And I have no issue, no problem. And for people, they say, oh, they don't care about the property. But when you purchase your property, put some material in the house, they're going to last. So every single time you have to change tenants in between, for example, tile. Just put tile on the floor. Doesn't matter which renter is in there. Even if they're messy, they're not messy. Doesn't matter, right? The tile will last. But if you want to put laminate or whatever because you're trying to be cheap and carpet, good luck with that.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Your expense budget is going to be through the roof.
Yeah, he told me put some granite countertop, granite well, he gave me some example like that to say my property I find when my tenant are moving out, it's just a simple cleanup.
Yeah. That's it. People sleep on Section 8.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't understand. And they would say, I don't want them to mess up.
It's
Listen,
not true.
It's a stigma. It's just a stigma.
It's a
Right.
stigma.
I would rather, I have a teacher that's on Section 8, actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, she has 5 kids. She's doing, right.
These kids are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would rather have a check come every month on the first, on time, without chasing anybody. Exactly. Versus someone who you may think responsible but can lose their job tomorrow and now yet start chasing checks. I don't want to do that, man.
Yeah. And then with Section 8, we do have a property. We had a Section 8 there. When she lost her job during the pandemic, she went, they took over her portion. I didn't realize it. She told me after, she said, hey, landlord, sign this paper right here. I was like, what is that? Oh, I lost my job. So, okay, thank you for letting me know. But
right.
I didn't feel.
So they filled in that gap.
Yeah, they filled in that gap until she was able to find a job.
They
do a really good job.
And they screen the people too, right?
Yeah, they do all the job, and then they screen you. They double check that you really own the owner of the property. They do the contract with you, and you submit all your paperwork, and it's true. It's on time every month, no worries. And then if you really care or worried about they will mess up your property, just check in as a landlord.
Worry about that. How much you're gonna pay? Like, listen, if you're getting $1,500 a month from Section 8, right, which is recession proof, unless there's a government shutdown or something. But if you're getting $1,500 a month, right, and let's just say your takeaway is $500, how much is it gonna cost you to make the house ready again?
And they usually stay for a long time. You would have them for 3-4 years because usually when they find a place and they like it, they don't move.
They're not going anywhere.
They're gonna stay there for a long time. That's what they like. So during the 2, 3, 4 years that you have that property, save some of the money you're making on the side to fix it, and really go and check on your property. Drive by every 3 months, every 4 months. Say, hey, I'm gonna just swing by. Have a relationship with your tenants.
That's the most important.
Talk to them. Have a real relationship when they have a problem or there's something going on. Hey, landlord, the water is not coming up. I don't know what's going on. You know what? Just send a $25 gift card and say, go buy some water for the house until. No, it's true. It's just a question of relationship. There will be, oh my God, my landlord's really cared about me. This is not just for section. This is for everybody. My landlord really cared about me. Hey, there's a problem. True, the tenant is responsible for oftentimes to maintain the yard and stuff like that. But once a year, go to say, hey, I'm going to cut the tree and clean the gutter.
Yeah.
Little things like that. The tendency that you're trying to make their life better, what are you going to do? They're going to respect you. They're going to respect the home, and you're going to have a relationship because at the end of the day, we're all human.
No, that's true.
Yeah, no, I believe that. I don't really believe in, being that hard ass landlord, right? Because no one likes a hard ass. No. You know what I mean? So I mean, you have a hard ass landlord. You can't really expect your tenants to respect the way, and that's why you get holes in your walls and your windows shut out. Yeah, man. See, I've seen.
Or they don't call you when there's leak under the sink. And then by the time you find out,
it's too late.
It's too late. You have to change the whole kitchen.
No one who respects you as a person, right, let alone a landlord, is gonna smash up the house before they leave. No one's, and I've been through houses where, and it's like, dude, what did you do to these people that, you know, I saw a house where basically the bathroom was, they torched the bathroom. Like, the bathroom caught on fire. And where they left? I was like, what happened to the rest of the house? Oh, they just did this, man, because they're, you know, SOBs. And it's like, dude, like, you must have really did something because they're on Section 8, right? You must have really did something for them
hurt their feeling.
Right, for them to trash your house like this. You know what I mean? So for me, it's all about respecting people, man, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's people that have kids, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's all about respecting people.
Yeah, and all they want is to live somewhere and take care of what everybody needs, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all trying to do the same thing.
I'm not opposed to Section 8 at all. In fact, I love it. Yeah. And then the rents increase every year. Yeah. I love it.
So when you, what are the criteria or what's your rate of return on a buy and hold? How do you do your math and calculation?
So I was taught by someone who has, shout out to Chuck Wells. I was taught by someone who has like 30-something properties. Remember, I don't even know if I told you this when I say remember, I was really never a fan of buying and holding single-family houses.
A lot of people don't understand that the real money is buy and hold and sit on the equity and then cash then.
The equity play is actually what got me to do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the way I evaluate properties, I already evaluated like I'm getting 30%. So I treat it just like a flip, but instead of putting it on the market, right, I hold it, right? Yep. When I say, so this is another tidbit. Don't tell your lenders. So I'm evaluating these properties just like I would if I was flipping it. Okay. Right? All right. But ideally, when you're buying to hold, you don't need to put all that work in it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Don't be a slumlord. Don't just put a bandage on it, right? But you don't need to put all the work in, not the work that I do, right? But like I said, I treat it like a flip. As long as I can get 100% financing, I'm going to treat the rehabs and everything else like a flip, right? What I do, I make I make it top heavy. For an example, I got one property out in Katy on Section 8, and the rehab budget, the real rehab budget was like $20,000. Mm-hmm.
But you made it.
My lender's not gonna like me for this, but the real rehab budget was like $20,000. You don't have to say the full number, just right. He's getting paid, right? It was like $20,000, right? Okay. Was it 20? Yeah, it was only $20,000, right? And then I treated it like a normal rehab, right? So it was $35,000 to $40,000 rehab budget that I sent to the hard money lender, right? So it was almost in a sense that I wholesaled it to myself, right? So then I bought it from someone who happens to be a realtor, right? And I also put my fee on top of it, my realtor fee. I'm a realtor as well, too. So you
use it to pay.
So I got paid like costs 3 or 4 times, right? So it's like I got my 3% from the purchase, right? I got $15,000 to $20,000 from
the lender,
right? The lender, right? And I'm buying and holding the property, right? And the property has $120-something thousand worth of equity in it.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
So then you refinance it after you finish.
I refinance it, yeah. Refinance it at 75-80%. This is another property though. This is not the one. Okay. I'll hit you up. Okay.
And this is how you can buy your property and then have the rehab care for. But that's why it's important for you to maintain your credit, though. Yeah. Because then, yeah, because if you do all this work and you can refinance to your name, you're stuck.
That's the most important part.
Your credit needs to be an investor. Those harmony lender or investor that like you to have over
725.
725 credit score.
But don't let that discourage you. Like, find your girlfriend or your homeboy, your mom, somebody who has a decent credit score. Create an LLC. Utilize them, and just give them some money.
Yeah, and then if you need help with building your credit, you give me a call as well. I'll look at your credit and tell you what you need to do to build it up. He's like the
master credit builder.
So we'll get it going that way as well.
For sure. But I mean, that's why I like real estate, man. Like, You know, everyone, trucking is good too, but you know, you can't be. You know, I'm a dynamic thinker, right? You can't be super flexible with trucking. You know, you drive in point A to point B, right?
Yeah.
But with real estate, I mean, you can play with money all day.
Yeah.
It's so much avenues for you to make
And there's
money through finances, and you know what I mean. That's why I love it so much. That's why I
there's
say
so
it's
many
more,
different ways you can structure your
Yeah.
deal. Let's
can
say
be
seller
creative.
financing. How do you do your seller financing?
I've never done seller financing, but I mean, if I was doing it, you know, I would just do it what the gurus do, right? It's down payment, and then just high ass interest.
So a lot of people they don't know,
financing.
but you do not have necessarily have to own 100% of the house in order to do. You can do a wrap.
Oh yeah,
You can
yeah.
still
That's
have a
wraparound.
finance. You can still have a loan on it, and then you make sure you just capture the spread between how much interest rate you charge your new buyer, and then how much the lender is charging you. Especially those people that have 3% interest back in 2020, 2021, they're dancing right now.
Yeah,
Dancing.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I know quite a few people who did that, man. I just never, it's just the game I didn't get into.
I had a client. He does a lot of seller financing,
Yeah,
and he wrapped them up.
but that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
It's just that's why real estate it's so broad, right? And especially when it comes to financing, man, because you can do all that. You can do a wraparound loan, or it's just so much ways for you to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And what he love about it is he always tell me, I don't want to deal with tenant. That's his
Facts.
favorite thing. He has a lot of properties. That's why he buy it as a flip. He get it together. We find someone. The person put 20 to 30% down, and he's charging them 10, 11% interest rate. He refinances his stuff. He's maybe right now it's in 7%.
Yeah, 11%.
So he's making that spread, and he does not have to deal with repair on the property. If the person doesn't pay, he take the property back. And he charge the price of the home is for an owner financing. He's charging more than what's the average because he's calculating his number. Where okay, so if this house normally will go on the market for $200,000 on the owner financing because I'm carrying the risk, I'm going to charge $20,000 more, and then it's just let the person. If the person doesn't pay, he take the house back and he redo the same thing with somebody else.
Yeah, I might need to rethink my strategy. But I've a lot of the houses I've purchased, right? Like I'll put the sign out there, you know, we buy houses or whatever. They'll call me with that, right? But it's just never really attractive. I never sat down and said, okay, this is something I'm gonna do. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a person that if I have an idea, I don't want to do anything else. This is what I want to do until I learn something new, and this is a good idea. I just never did it.
Yeah. And what do you think about those that they buy property with tax sale? Have you done some?
All the time. That is like
How would you do it?
I love it. Well, so I love tax liens,
Okay.
right? I don't go to the auction.
You don't? How would you buy it then
Waste
if
of
you don't go
time.
to the auction?
I can't tell you that. It's a secret.
Okay, we'll
No,
do
I'm
it.
just messing.
We'll do it off camera.
No, but it's simple. I'm not the only person that does it. I think majority of the people do it. I just get it before it goes on the auction. I love tax lien. If it's any type of like, you know, delinquency, property or whatever, I prefer tax liens. I don't really care about mortgages and short sales and all that nonsense, man. I like tax liens. Why? Because tax liens are usually properties of, for an example, if someone has passed and there's heirs who don't want to pay taxes on it, so just going to leave it alone. You know what I mean? So it's like,
just want to get off the property.
right. So when you finally contact somebody, an heir or someone who is related to that property by any means, right? Now you're bringing money into their life. Hey man, I'll give you this for this property. It's just sitting there. You're not getting money from it anyway, and it's
And
about
they can afford it anyway.
right. And then it's about to be foreclosed. So why would you let it foreclose? You can get money in your pocket. I love tax liens. So what I do is either I cold call. And I still do cold calls. Actually, I don't do a lot of it. I hire VAs and I have a few students who I'm teaching real estate and I have them cold calls, right? And the properties that they do get, I would.
You split with them?
No.
You give them a little bit?
Well,
commission?
so I can really only, if I'm teaching anybody, I can really only teach them how I did it.
Got it.
You know what I mean? So if I started from wholesaling, you're just gonna start from wholesale. You know what I mean? Unless you don't want to, then I can't really help you, right? So they would cold call, and then by the grace of God, they would find a property that I would buy, and then they would just wholesale it to me. You know what I mean? And we would go through the deal, and I would say that, hey, I can only pay for this. And if it's a property that I can't, that's not good for me as far as the numbers are concerned, then they could sell it to whoever they want.
A question for someone who wants to do all of this, but they don't have a lot of cash in hand. Would you advise them to partner up with friends and family to start, or?
Yeah.
Because you need because some of the property you have, you buy them cash, right?
Right. You should partner up. But if you in the beginning,
yes,
partner up. I mean, it's crazy because on my very first deal, I partnered up with someone. She was an accountant, CPA, so you can imagine the stress. And I was a contractor, right? I actually lost money on that deal.
What happened?
I lost like 10 grand. That's the house I was telling you about out in Bracewood. The evaluations
just break down.
All right, so this house was probably
it
was a 3-2, nice. It was a gorgeous house, man. Fireplace, 20 feet. There's vaulted cathedral ceilings. I just think I just put way too much in it, right? Don't make that mistake, right? If you're gonna buy a house and you're gonna rehab it, right? Go through your comps and then see what the houses have done. See what the other houses have. Right? Don't do anything that the other houses don't have unless you have the budget for it, right? And then unless you know that you can still get it at this price, because all that nonsense doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I spent like $6,000 stack stone in a 20 feet fireplace.
Oh.
Cash on return, nothing.
Were
you know what I mean?
Were you selling $1 million property?
No, it wasn't even $1 million. I think this was around 400, and then, and it was my very first deal. I did it with someone.
But you need to learn.
And
you realize that.
And at the end of the day, I didn't make that mistake anymore. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
That's why you have to go through it.
Right. You have to. And I didn't mind. I didn't cry about it. I was like, oh well, it's 10 grand. I made 10 grand before. You know what I mean?
At least you make 10.
Right. You know what I mean?
Some people make 0.
The house is flooded. The house flooded like 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah. But the house was bad. I mean, it was
the house flooded 3 times.
Shower.
The house flooded 3 times. I'm gonna be running away from it. I'm not even messing.
Yeah, and that was the deal, man. And don't get in your feelings when it comes to these properties, man. Because I just felt like it was my first property and I wanted it. Got it from a wholesaler.
Mm-hmm. So you pay all these fees to get it, and then but at least you make 10.
No, I lost.
Oh, you lost.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't hear right. Okay, you lost 10K.
Yeah, I lost 10K. And And like I said, no one wants to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was my first deal, and then at that point, it's like, okay, well, I'm not doing this shit again. Seriously, I don't know if we can curse on here or not, but it was a lesson learned. Yeah, it was a lesson learned. But I forgot your question. But yeah, it's that property. That probably hurt my feelings. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. So pretty much when you purchase a home, look what people are willing to pay in the neighborhood.
Like you don't have to go over and beyond. There's no need for that.
You do that for your own house.
I mean, we had and like I said, the price point was $400,000. The other comps had prefab counters or whatever. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna make mine custom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I made them custom. It didn't even
the
matter.
first one, you want to go all in.
$15,000 on cabinets.
And then the realtor is telling you, okay, you have a lot of nice stuff, but let me tell you, the number are.
I got so many compliments on this house.
We're gonna have problem with the appraisal, my friend. That's not gonna work for my clients.
Yeah.
Oh man, the house was nice. Man.
Yeah.
The house was nice. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, it was nice. I seen that house.
Yeah,
it was nice.
It was just. I mean. Nice. It was just bad evaluation, and it was my first. It was like a little kid in the candy store.
Yeah,
I thought I was gonna get away with stealing candy, and I did it.
Just getting it back from you, huh?
So pretty much, the moral of the story in real estate investing, you make money on the buy.
You definitely make money in buy.
You really need to think through it. You need to also have your end buyer in mind.
For sure, especially if you're for sure. Whether it's fix and flips or you're wholesaling, the end buyer is the most important. You know what I mean? Because you don't get, there's no deal. You don't get money without the end buyer.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Obinna. We learned so much from you.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
You're a true expert. You should be proud of yourself.
I'm a kid. I'm learning. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
OB.
We really learned. That was really great.
Fun.
So, Alex,
Yeah.
you heard it? Okay. So you know what you're going to do next? Okay.
Yeah.
Good
But
day.
one of if I can leave with this, right? If you're thinking about it, and I used to like go through my properties and showing them, put it on social media. I'm not really a social media person, but I'll always get calls. I'm like, man, I've been wanting to do it, but I'm scared.
Alex,
Like,
can I
man,
help you do that now?
Listen, Alex, I got you, Alex. I'm like, listen, man. I think I still get nervous when I buy property. I just go through the motion.
To this day.
Right.
Yeah,
Those butterflies.
Yeah, just go through it. You know what I mean? There's an end result, right?
Yeah.
So just go through it, right?
Yeah, it's just like anything you do with passion and you love, but you still have, you still think about everything that can come.
right, and that's
Wrongs,
fine, right?
yeah.
And that's you're gonna do that. You know what I mean? If you're nervous about it, then do it nervous. If you're scared, then do it scared.
But do something.
Just
But
do
you got to
it.
do something.
You got to
Yeah,
do
do
it. Or if you don't do it, well, guess what?
No results.
None.
Yeah.
None. So that's what it is. Time is gonna fly anyway, man. Might as well just do it.
But thank you, Obi, for stopping by, man.
Man, thanks for
Definitely
having me.
appreciate it.
Congratulations on your show, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I like what you're doing over here,
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was wonderful. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe, follow us, and comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're decided to start your first flip or not. We're here to listen to you and hear from you. My friend right here, Abu, is going to be able to help you on the lending side. He worked with regular buyer, but also you also have plenty of hard money lender you work with, and you'll be able to help the buyer to analyze all of this and make sure to make the right decision and walk them through. And he's
Very
an investor.
transparent, very
Yeah,
transparent.
he's an investor himself. So that's the best person to learn. Of course, I'm the best person to resell it and also run all you come.
There you go.
In case you
1-2
need it.
punch.
And if you want to learn, and it looks like you do have students, they can contact you. How people can get a hold of you?
All right, so I'm old school, right? You can reach me at 832-208-2707.
Okay, perfect. So you got it. Thank you so much for watching. À bientôt.
Bye-bye.